Hello, welcome to the Tutors of Life podcast, episode 61. This is your host, Shaun Tudor.
And this is Sam.
Hello, Sam.
Hello, Shaun.
How are you?
I am cold.
Why?
Because it's cold.
Oh.
I might steal Mimi's blanket in a minute.
Yeah, that happens.
How are you?
I am well.
She's not happy. I just stole it from her.
No, Mimi wants her toy back. Yeah, no, I'm good. What's new in the life of Sam?
What is new? I went and got my dress altered.
Mm-hmm.
So it is finally not in our house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
I bought the last few wedding things.
Yep.
And I think we're just about done planning it now, even.
Yeah. It is pretty much like soon-to-be wedding time.
Yeah. 34, 32 days, something like that.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be good.
Yeah, it's just been really weird, because I just talked to Shaun about this when I got home. On Monday, every so often on Mondays, I bowl on my mom's bowling team. And it's a lot of fun. It's just a whole bunch of old ladies, and we just chat while we bowl. It's cool. But it was just so weird, because this past Monday, they're all asking me questions about it. And they're all like, "Oh, are you nervous?" What should I be nervous about?
I don't really know. I feel like whatever you know about me, you probably already know. So you're not really going to get yourself in anything you're not aware of.
Right. So that's why I was just so confused by that question. Because, I've definitely, heard people say that before. But now I'm like, literally getting married should not change your life at all.
I wouldn't think so. I'd be concerned if you were like...
Our relationship will be
nervous,
better.
Or, thinking that things are going to change.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of just thinking of it as...
Well, okay. Besides the fact that we'll get to have intercourse for the first time.
Yeah, obviously.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of it makes me feel like it's prom or some dance. I don't know.
A dance that we have to pay for.
Well, yes, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did you not have to pay for prom?
Oh, yeah.
It's
$20.
Yeah, it's a lot more expensive than prom was.
Yeah, by a lot.
But yeah, so that's why it's been very weird for me. And then what else for people? Oh, if I was just hoping he was here already, and I was like, no, I'm happy to have just the time.
Yeah.
I just wrote a blog about it, actually, about how so many people just rush through life. Just because...
They're rushed into nowhere, though.
Right. People think, oh, it'll, my life will be better next year, or something like that.
It's like the hurry up. It's like the hurry up and wait mentality.
Yeah.
From the military. Oh, hurry up, do this. Now we're going to sit and wait for 3 hours. And it's well, why didn't we just slowly get ready for 3 hours and then sit around for 20 minutes? And they're like, that's stupid.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you mean? Why are we just sitting here for 3 hours? And they're like, well, because we had to hurry up through our task. I'm like, no, we didn't. We had 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Right, we could have taken our time.
We could have, did a really thorough, good job for 3 hours and then hang out for 20 minutes. No, that wouldn't make sense.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. So many people just like to rush through things. And it really popped up in my head because I was on my way home from work. And I was going 55 in a 50, so, faster than the speed limit. And there was
I think that's illegal.
No. They're not going to pull you over for 5 over.
It still sounds illegal to me.
Whatever. There were people flying past me. So they had to be going at least 65. And I was like, what, like, why are, like, they in such a rush?
They're in a rush to get home to spend more time on their phone that they were probably on while they were driving 65 past you.
Right. Probably. So, yeah, it just blew my mind. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm excited for the day. Like, it'll be fun. Like, we have lots of fun things planned for the whole vacation in general.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm in no rush to get there.
I'm excited to shoot machine guns.
I bet you are.
That'll be fun.
I'm just excited to be not Eau Claire,
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
I'm actually super excited to be somewhere warmer.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. This cold's pissing me off. Off. Kyle and I want to do trim at one of the properties. And,
But you want to cut it outside.
right, because, like, everything's finished, bought trim. And so we're like, well, we don't want to fucking get everything dirty. And so we want to cut it outside. And I'm like, I don't want to go outside.
Right. Damn.
Because when you're putting up trim, you're usually in, like, a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt.
Right, yeah.
Dude, fuck that. It's so cold out. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the warm weather.
It was so cold. Our sawdust on our damn table saw froze, which doesn't make sense.
No.
And we couldn't even move our guide today. I was like, dude, that's ridiculous. It's too cold. When your sawdust is freezing from the moisture in the air and you can't move your guide,
Yeah.
well, we shouldn't be doing this.
That's so true.
We should be sleeping. We should be inside in the warmth.
Right, cuddling your ham.
Go into dojos.
Should I get, like, some kind of shawl or something
For what?
for our wedding day?
Why?
We're outside the entire time.
Is that cold?
I think Las Vegas has an average of about 65 to 45.
You should get a quilt shawl. You want one of the tie-dye ones?
Ooh, how about a white jean jacket that I tie-dyed myself and bedazzled?
Ooh. No.
Should we put tassels on it too?
No.
Okay.
Maybe we just do like a white shawl of some sort. That'd probably work pretty good. Or a black shawl. That'd kind of throw a little loopy, huh?
Or we could, get one of our wedding colors.
Yeah, like black. Yeah, no, that'd be cool though. Probably a good idea.
I might want to look into that.
I'm gonna wear a coat, so it'll be good.
Yeah, I like how you are making your groomsmen be cold.
They'll figure it out.
Figured out.
Well, they got a vest and a long sleeve on.
That's true.
At least it's not in the fucking winter.
That's true. And at least it's not in the middle of August heat in Wisconsin and you're wearing a full suit.
Have I done that before?
Yes, you have. You were not a groomsman. You were a usher
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
for an outdoor wedding.
I was sweating freaking schnats. Sweating schnats. Yeah.
Was that like a navy blue suit too?
It was great.
Oh, was it great?
Pouring sweat.
Yeah, it was
Good times.
I loved that wedding.
Every
that was a lot of
time
fun.
is good times. I tell you what, there's not much times I don't have a good time.
Yeah, that's why Shaun and I very much try to appreciate every single day. At least I think we do. I don't know. Life has already seemed like it's gone too fast, especially in the past 2 years. So we try to literally just live one day at a time and try making it not go so fast.
Life started speeding up at 14. Life really started speeding up in college.
Oh, yeah.
Then you finish college and you got a career and life sped up even more. I never thought transitioning from, and this is where I'm probably going to differ from most people. I went from during school, I was like, I can't wait for the weekend. To now, in my career, I'm like, God, it's Friday. Shit. I wish it was still like Monday or Tuesday so I had more time.
There's a few days, like a few weeks. I wish that, because I know for a fact, like, I'm not gonna have the same momentum come Monday.
No, you lose that. Like, there's so many times when I'm like, dude, I hate that I have shit planned for the weekend because I almost just want to keep working through. Like, I'm getting good momentum. I'm feeling good. Sometimes it takes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to ramp up in a week.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, so much of my fucking, like, honestly, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to be honest with you, all 3 days this week so far has been piddly little stuff here and there, not getting much accomplished. I know tomorrow Kyle and I are going to be able to focus all day doing trim, and we're really going to see a lot of progress. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be able to go into Friday doing the same thing. And so that's one of those scenarios where, like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday really was kind of like a weekend for me, because like barely anything got done. I had more time to relax than I should have, but I just had little tiny things where like now would be a phenomenal time to like ramp up and work through the weekend with the momentum, you know?
Or like in the future on Saturday, Sunday, do those little tiny things.
Right? Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that. Golly.
Because how much of those little tiny things like are like just for you, right? Like it's not both of you.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that like him and I could do, like like where at a point where either one of us could have just done that stuff, except for like some of the heavy lifting. But besides that, like we could have just done it on our own, most of it.
Right.
So I mean that's definitely true. So. Good.
I lost my train of thought. I got distracted by Mimi.
Okay, good. The hardest thing with that, right, is just like we talked about last week, and this is what I hate. Henry Ford created the 40-hour work week. Monday
yes.
through Friday. We knew this. We've talked about this a lot. But we saw it again yesterday in Audrey's presentation at Wiscoria. And it just reminded me about it. The 40-hour work week was never a thing until Henry Ford invented it to keep his factories running. You know, there's too much burnout, and they were like, people wouldn't keep showing up because they would come into work and work long days every single day, and they kept getting people to not show up. So they figured out, you know, how to break it down and make it work. And they came up with 5 days a week, 8-hour days, 3 shifts in a day, and that's where you get 40-hour work week. And so this is, and we've talked about this with other things, and this is what really pisses me off, really, is because of something that happened 100 years ago, we decided that that's going to just be the pack. That's going to be the new thing.
And there's no science behind it.
There's zero. It's so annoying. And so it's like, okay, companies are open now Monday through Friday. Why? Why can't shit just fucking... I understand companies vary completely, right? But, like, why can't it be, you can just kind of come in and work whenever you want, get shit done whenever you want. I understand there's a lot of businesses that don't necessarily operate that way, and you can't operate that way because of teams and shit like that. But I'm just like, dude, why did this happen? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How did this happen? Now, if we go back even farther, this is the next thing that really fucking... Well, I can go on this deep. So, the first thing that's annoying is a 40-hour work week. Why did we come up with that? Why is it Monday through Friday? Why do we have weekends off? Like, why don't we just work a little bit every day? And if you want to take a week off, you take a week off. You know? Where did this shit come from? You don't need vacation pay. You just have to budget to have a week off. I don't get where we think we're so entitled to this shit.
I mean, doesn't the U.S. offer, like, pretty close to the least amount of paid time off?
Good. We shouldn't, like... People think we need handouts. And this is where my point's leading to. 200 years ago, before the or so like when was the Industrial Revolution, when factories and shit started becoming a thing? That was like
Wasn't that late 1880s?
Around 18, or I think it started like 1860s, 1850s, I think.
Okay.
So around that time, right, is when people transitioned to being employed. 200 years ago, okay, 200 years ago, it was over 80% of people were self-employed. Over 80% of people were self-employed 200 years ago. Mm-hmm. Why do we base our whole civilization off of shit that has occurred in the last 200 years? The last 100 years. And then we talk about retirement, which had never been a thing. I understand we're living longer. I understand that. Okay? Maybe part of living longer is you have to figure out how to not work for the rest of your life. Because before, you would just work till you die. 200 years ago, you work till you die. Mm-hmm. Now, we have to take care of you because you are not responsible enough to save up for your own retirement because now you can live longer than before? No. Fuck that. Figure it out. And if you work until the day you die, you work till the day you die.
That just is the only shitty thing. It's like, I feel like a lot of people would have made better retirement plans knowing that Social Security was a failure.
Okay, so Social Security is a failure. That started we talked about this. That started in like the 1920s or 30s, right?
Right.
Social Security?
That's the thing. Like, if the government's going to offer you a program like that, like, be like, hey, we're going to take this amount out of your check, and then we're going to give it back to you when you need to retire. Right? Like,
they should give you an option.
Right. But they didn't. So
they didn't.
People had to do that.
Yep. So we have to pay Medicare. We have to pay Social Security. And we have to pay way more tax than we should have to. Okay? But then, so that, right? And now the whole idea, the whole norm is a 401k or an IRA, right? It's some sort of retirement fund. That shit's only been around for 50 years. 50 years. 50 years. Most people are older than that. Like half our population's older than that.
So it's going to be the same issue of Social Security when everyone tries to cash those out at the same time again. Because all the same people started them at the same time. Exactly.
So it's like people are going to be cashing so much out of their stocks. All the baby boomers that retire are going to be cashing out so much of their stocks to go into retirement. Those company valuations are just going to go down and down and down and on. I understand there'll be buying and shit of it, but there's going to be so much selling as 10,000 people retire a day. 10,000 people retire a day right now.
When baby boomers were born in the 30s?
I don't know. 40s? I think 40s.
So they would be
50s.
80. So
no, that's not right.
Retired.
Let me look up boomers. I'll look up boomers real quick, babe.
Because it was after the war. I thought it was after World War II. Wait, can I?
Baby boomers.
Oh, shit. My mic hasn't been working.
So, baby boomer is 1946 to 1964, which would put us at the low end is 58, so we still have like 7 years of retirement roughly.
Oof.
And so, but I mean, we're already pretty balls deep into it. For people watching the video down the road someday, we had some technical difficulties. The mic quit working, so we took a few minutes to get that figured out, and now we're back rolling. But here's what pees me off, right? I understand we've had technological advances. Mm-hmm. I'm following that, right? Mm-hmm. But why did we throw out, like, I don't know how fucking long humans have actually been around, right? Because who knows, aliens could have, like, invented us and shit. We don't really know, okay? We could have been through multiple, like, world crashes and then comebacks. We could have been at this stage already before. You know, like, we could have been here before and then the world crumbled and then it took, like, rebuilding, like, a million years later to get us here.
Or we could have been on a different planet.
Could have been on a different planet. They could have implanted us here. Dude, you just don't know, right? Like, you don't know.
Okay, where is this going?
Where this is going. Say humanity's been around for what they claim hundreds of thousands of years.
Okay.
Okay? Why the fuck did we throw all that shit out the window for the past 200 years?
I couldn't tell you.
And so, if you look at history, we are incapable of learning from history, right? I mean, fucking COVID's the next Nazi Germany. They literally have camps in Australia, right? They have camps in Australia where they put people that aren't vaccinated.
Did you know half of the Democratic voters approve of putting the unvaccinated in camps in the U.S.?
That's if those polls are correct. But yeah, it's insane. Mm-hmm. And so here's the thing. We can't even learn from 80 years ago. We're too stupid and naive to learn from 80 years ago, okay? And we just throw all this shit out the window. Just gone. Whatever. We're just living in our great little cupcake world that keeps falling apart. And people aren't happy. People haven't been happy. I don't understand why we can't just fucking take a step back, look at history again, like all of it, and go, hey, we don't actually have to do this shit. Like, we can change some stuff around. But no, let's let the government run our lives. Let's let them give us free handouts. Let's work a 40-hour work week. But 40 hours is getting tough, you know? So maybe we should work a 32-hour work week. And I need more stimulus from the government because what I'm making just isn't cutting it. And minimum wage needs to go up too.
I completely forgot this started with a 40-hour work week.
Yeah,
you went on a fucking cycle.
That's what I'm saying. I bring it full circle for our listeners.
Yeah, sure.
I let this stuff marinates in my brain, and I just want to feed it to you guys.
Yeah. So I will say, I mean, for some jobs, like desk jobs, it's like proven to, like, people are more productive if they work less. If they work like 36 or 32 hours.
Probably even less. Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, like with manual labor jobs, I'm sure you and Kyle could be a little more productive if you like scheduled less hours.
Okay. Yep.
I don't know if that would be as effective though for like what your field is. Do you?
That is one thing I've always wondered about, right? Because depending on the job and the site, you have to set up and tear down. And the setup and tear down is quite it's an hour of your day.
Right.
Setup and tear down is an hour every day. So you don't really want to do an hour setup for 4 hours of work. Not making a lot of sense. And that's where I say some of these things, this isn't a set in stone thing, right? Some of these things change. Mm. So maybe you do work 12-hour days in construction or something instead.
But you could work 4 12-hour days or 3 12-hour days. Right. Because then, that'd actually work. If you did 3 12-hour days, that's 36 hours. But you'd be more productive because that is 2 hours less that week you would be taking down or putting up and tearing down.
Right. Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways, right? And with like Monster Energy where you can keep working and stuff. I'm just fucking with you guys. But yeah, like caffeine gets you through those 3 days, and then you have 4 days off or whatever it is. Or shit, maybe you just work till a job is done.
And then take like a week or 2 off.
And take a week or 2 off. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you work nonstop for 5 weeks, 6 weeks till a job is complete. You get your payday at the end of that, right? You just crush ass for fucking, what's 5 times 7? 35. You work 35 to 42 days straight. No days off. 12-hour days. Okay? And then you're like, oh, fuck. I just got a big payday. I'm taking 2 weeks off.
I would need more than 2 weeks. For that length of time?
Why?
Because.
Yeah, but why? Just what would that be? So what would 5 to 6 weeks would be 10 to 12 days? Instead of taking 14 days off. You get more time off.
I suppose. So is that how the 12-hour work week is supposed to be? You're supposed to work every single day for those 12 weeks?
No.
Or is it a Monday through Friday thing?
It doesn't matter. However, whatever it takes to get your things done.
Well, because don't you design weekly goals to daily tasks? Yeah. So I guess, you can design it however you want. If you want to do it every single day, or if you want to do it Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday.
Fuck, you just do one day.
Or you can do one day.
You don't even have to do a task in a week if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay.
However you want to make it.
Can we get off of this depressing topic?
Fine.
I mean, I know you like it.
I love this shit.
Shaun listens to like a lot of like Andy Frisella and Rob Bailey, and they, I mean, I feel like know so much more about what's going on.
They question the norm.
Yeah.
They're not willing to ask these. They are willing to ask these questions that a lot of people don't think about.
Mm-hmm. Then they've done it for so much longer. I mean, they're older than us.
Yeah. So Andy's been in business for 23 years, and then Rob Bailey's been in business for 15.
So yeah, I mean, they're just more experienced than us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They've probably seen this shit for longer. Seen it like building up this whole time.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we kind of are just starting to like put our toes into it.
Mm-hmm.
Not business, but like, I mean, the rough side of the world. And it's very interesting because Carrie came up to us and we were talking about something, housing prices or something. And we were talking about why car prices are so expensive, and it's because of the chip shortage.
Or they say a chip shortage, right?
Right. Well, because there's only 7 factories in the world that make it. One of them burned down, and I think almost the rest of them are in Asia, which Asia's having a huge COVID problem, so they're not able to work as much, blah, blah, blah.
Or they say.
Right. And Carrie's like, well, why don't they open up a factory in the U.S.? Shaun? Why wouldn't someone open up a factory in the U.S.?
You looking for logical answers, or are you looking for conspiracy answers?
Business answers, not conspiracy, business.
So here's a couple actually. So number one, labor's way more expensive.
Correct.
Okay, labor's way more expensive in the States. I do not know what their working conditions are like, but OSHA is going to play a huge role in how they run these factories. Mm-hmm. And so not only is the labor a lot more intensive, they are also going to have a lot more rules and guidelines they're going to have to follow.
Correct.
So those are two things that make making the product so much more expensive, okay? Mm-hmm. However, the prices of everything's already gone up so much that it would actually maybe offset already. We might just have these prices set up a little higher. Like this might be the new norm price if they did that, right?
Right.
Other things that could be why they don't, patents or rights. So if these companies over in Asia have the rights to these chips, and they have patents on those chips, and so we aren't actually allowed to create those chips. That's an idea.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know how patents and trademarks work cross country, right? Like between different countries.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. So, I mean, that's an idea of mine is another reason. Mm-hmm. Another reason I have, or an idea I have is people might be naive enough to think these companies don't all work together.
Right.
Okay, so we're talking...
Are you going back into conspiracies?
I'm not. I am not. They just did this. The top 10 people in the world. So we got Musk. We got Bezos, Bill Gates, like I think it's the Walmart dude, Warren Buffett, right? Top 10 guys.
Right.
Them combined hold the same wealth as 70% of the world.
Oh.
So 10 people hold the same wealth as 70% of the world. Okay, or 70% of the money in the world they own in their wealth. 10 people.
Wow.
So here's the thing with that, right? Ford, GM, Tesla, Toyota, every car manufacturer are huge billion-dollar companies, okay? multi-billion-dollar companies, all of them, do not act like these companies do not work together. Because they follow a similar, like, it's like this, okay, hey, I sell oranges, okay? Sam also, no, fuck that, gas prices. If you got gas at $3.10 up the road, you can bet your ass across town it's within 10 cents. Everywhere mimics each other. Every gas station kind of has a rule like, hey, we're all going to be around the same price.
But it's probably because they're getting the same gas from the same place.
Yes. But when they get their barrels in, most likely they're ordering their barrels, say they're getting it at $2 or $2 a gallon. Say that's what they're getting it at, right? So they know they're getting all this gas in, and they know, okay, so for the rest of this, we just need to get $3 to make our profit, right?
Right.
As soon as barrel prices go up, their prices go up. They have enough stock to keep charging $3, but since barrel prices went up, their prices go up. It has nothing to do with how much they have in stock. If barrel prices are going up, their prices are going up. If barrel prices are going down, their prices will go down. So the point I'm getting at here, right, is these companies work together in essence for setting prices. Why do you think the average car across the board, the average like price for a car now is like $27,900, okay? That's across the board, every brand. That's kind of like their base is around that. Like that's a pretty average price of a car for every brand, excluding the high quality Mercedes, Lexus, shit like that, right? So if these companies are like, hey guys, yes, we could have a factory here, but this is actually working out in our benefit. We're always sold out. There's such a high demand. All prices have gone up over, all prices have gone up, like, depending on the vehicle, probably 20% since this has happened. So if all these companies are working together, like, well, why would we open up a company here? Because then the demand's going to go down and we're not going to be making as much. So we might as well just let them keep doing their thing. We'll all work together, play by the same rules, and we'll make a lot more money.
That is definitely conspiracy theory.
That's not conspiracy theory.
How is it not?
My
mic cut out again. The fuck?
I don't know. I'm telling you though, that I don't think that's conspiracy theory. Technical difficulties again, gang. Wait one.
We're gonna use the backup mic.
All right.
Now I gotta sit on Mimi too.
Oh, did you do a hammer?
Okay, sorry guys. This is a rough night apparently.
So Sam, explain to me why you believe that's a conspiracy theory.
I think it's because to me it just seems like simple economics, right? Like there's a supply and demand chain, right? So the demand for these chips is going to be the same across all the car companies because they all need them.
Yep.
So obviously when the demand of those is still high, but they're not getting the supply of those, then obviously they're going to raise their prices of all their regular things.
Yep.
Because then it'll slow down the want for those.
Yeah.
So to me, everyone's raising prices because they don't have the supply to fulfill all what everyone would want to buy at a lower price.
But that wasn't your question.
Oh, why don't they open a company here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I don't think it has to do with all the car companies, right?
Okay.
I honestly, because they're not the ones that, do they own the chip companies?
They might.
We don't know that.
We don't know.
So that's why I wouldn't even put them into play because they are so many different car companies and they all use them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think the reason that they won't is because taxes are so expensive in the U.S. Paying employees and insurance for employees is so expensive in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. So this is why whenever there's a Republican in office, they usually know about business. And they know businesses, like, look at profit and loss. Well, if you have to pay an employee more money to work here, like, I'm guessing more than double here than in other countries.
Yeah. Whoa, big time. Way more than that.
Right? Like, so obviously, they're going to outsource their work. And now we're importing more goods than we're exporting because nobody wants to fucking own a company here.
Yes, that right there is the logical thing. I just wanted to go into conspiracy theories.
I know you do.
Dude, oh my God.
Dude, Setzer fucked you up.
No, that's not true. I've been on this track for years.
Okay, but he, like, reignited that fire again. You were like a fireplace with, like, embers, and he's the one who just fucking poured gasoline on it.
He stoked it.
Yeah. 100%.
A little bit. But, I mean, that's all shit I look into anyways, and I talk about that shit all the time.
I know you do. But I was asking you a simple business question, not a fucking conspiracy question.
I gave you the business answer.
Right.
And then I played into the topic I like.
Yeah.
Playing off of that, the outsourcing to different countries, I think that's dangerous.
It's very dangerous. And that's why, like Trump, like, he was trying to get more people to, like, bring their factories back to the U.S.
Right.
So that's, like, been a huge thing, like, that I know, like, Republicans have focused on.
Right.
And Democrats are just like, nope, fucking tax the rich, help the poor. So then all big business people are just like, well, fuck this. I'm not having my factories here.
Well, so how crazy would this be, right? I want to hit on two topics, okay? The first part, how crazy would it be if we were self-sufficient here in the United States?
Right? I just realized something. I'm going to get you off track. Your uncle and aunt are going to be very disgusted with me and my potty mouth today.
Did you swear?
I swore like 5 times.
Oh my God.
Anyways, so how... I think a lot of, like, smaller countries are self-sufficient.
They are. A lot of smaller countries are. Like, what's that one country that has no allies? Switzerland or Sweden? Switzerland. No allies, and they are a self-sufficient country. It's... And I'm not saying that's the best way, because I do... If you look at macro scale, it's not the best way. Because macro is you outsource stuff that, like, you... If you can get it produced somewhere else cheaper, utilize your strengths. This is the same thing in business, right? Like, utilize your strengths and utilize other people's strengths. So why would we hone in on our weaknesses of making chips when we can focus on making the vehicle, right? Like the big factory making of the vehicle. And then we'll just import the chips because that's their strength and this is our strength, right? So macroeconomic scale, it makes sense why we have treaties, why we work with other countries, why we have allies, things like that. Macroeconomics can make sense. Now, playing into that, when there's things like this, like the chip shortage, that affects our country a lot. So, and oil prices too affects us a lot.
Oh yeah, because didn't we, like, fuck up oil trading thing with Saudi Arabia or something recently?
I'm well.
I
mean, part of the pullout of Iran makes that shaky waters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Trump did something that, like, made it good, and then instantly Biden was like, "Fuck that."
Well, I mean, that was the same thing with Biden just pulling out of Iran. Yeah. Right? Was it Iran or Afghanistan? Yeah, Afghanistan, Iran, whatever.
One of the two,
whatever. So anyhow, here's the thing with all of this. I think it's really smart to have a strong foothold, self-sufficient country. Okay? And then we can supplement that. Okay, we can supplement by outsourcing and using other people's stuff, but we should have a good, solid base here.
Yeah, because that was, like, the main issue with, like, toilet paper. Like, when there was that toilet paper shortage.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure that was on like a cargo ship somewhere that like couldn't come or like got stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what that was. But we were also talking about like that in general is right now. Like so at my work, I'm in the shipping department, so we deal a lot with boxes and cardboard. And right now we've had a huge time getting a lot of the boxes we need. But it's because of right now with like how COVID is being addressed, a lot of paper mills are shutting down in the U.S. In the U.S., paper mills are shutting down because they like can't have enough. They don't have enough workers to like do the job.
Well, I mean, right now
And people don't want to do that job.
Yeah, so right now, the current administration is ruining our country. I mean, that's a fact, right? Like that is a fact. People don't want to work. You can now, if you just call into work and say, "Hey, I'm sick," you don't have to go in.
Right, no consequences.
No
nothing.
consequences. 2 years ago, you call in and you're sick, be like,
get a doctor's note.
Get a doctor's note or get your ass to work. It's not a case anymore. Hey, I got the sniffles. Oh, yep. You know what? We can't write you up.
Right.
And so they're ruining the country. That's happening. We're gonna see how this all pans out. I hope it doesn't completely run into shambles.
But look, we've talked about it. Look at California, right? Hugely Democratic state, right? Good. Like maybe they shouldn't have any homeless people, right? Because they probably want to help out their poor.
Yeah, they have the highest percentage of homeless people out of any other state by far.
Right. So if people are getting government assistance and stuff like that, you would think that the crime rate would go down, right?
You would think the crime rate would go down.
Right, because everyone's getting help. So if you're getting government help, you shouldn't need to steal anything.
Yeah, crazy, huh? Why is crime rate up there?
Correct.
There's actually a couple reasons. With COVID, they did release a lot of prisoners from jail and prison.
Yeah.
With COVID, because they didn't want that filling up the jails and prisons.
COVID to spread.
What's it?
They didn't want COVID to spread.
Yeah, they want COVID to spread inside the prison. So what they do, they let criminals back on the street. They did that in a mass quantity in a lot of different states.
Yeah, and there was like a huge problem in Eau Claire and Chippewa. Not for the fact like we have crazy criminals. It was like people that were on they call it Huber here.
Yeah.
Where if you get like too many DUIs, then you have to go sit in jail. But like a lot of times you can get work release, so you pretty much live at the jail, you go to work, go back to the jail. So there's a lot of people that all of a sudden got released from jail and had nowhere to fucking live.
Yeah, yep.
So that was like a huge problem here for a little while because they also don't have money.
Right.
Because all their money is going to pay for their fines and for their stay in jail.
Yep.
Yeah, Shaun and I just watched this craziest video of in LA, there's like this one main train line that carries a lot of packages, like UPS packages, Amazon packages. And if the train has to stop there, tons of people just fucking hop on the train, break the doors open, and start stealing the packages.
Yeah, they've been doing that. So I guess they've been doing that for a full month now.
Yeah, and like we saw the video. Literally, the guy said, like up and down the tracks from as far as you can see, it's just all cardboard, plastic packages, like the wrapping on from the outside, just the whole way. And he said it was cleaned up a month prior. Mm-hmm. And now it's just full of garbage.
Yep.
But it's just people fucking... And they have no consequences. If they get caught, they're back out on the streets the next day because the judge says it's just a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Opening up people's mail is a fucking felony.
Yeah, but not in a democratic state.
Yeah, apparently not. Apparently it seems like you can get away with murder there, and it's fine.
I saw a meme today. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, I LOL'd hard. There's no more U-Hauls in the state of California.
Do people just keep stealing them?
No. So many people are leaving and bringing them to other states, and nobody's moving back in.
So they're
out of U-Hauls. I saw that a meme today, and I was like, if this is true, that's funny.
That's really funny. And you have to think how many big businesses were in California. And now they're moving out.
Bro, so many.
Taxes are so high there. Wages are so high there.
Dude, income tax is like, no, state tax is like 13%.
Yeah, and isn't
whack.
like property tax is really high there too, isn't it?
Everything's high in California.
Yeah, because
especially the homeless.
Yeah, but it's because they need so much money to give free money to all these people that don't feel like working. Get a job. It's not that hard.
Dude,
there are people in situations that I understand, like people in Shaun's group homes. Yes, they should be able to live off the government. Like, there are people with like conditions that cannot work. That is fine. I will say that. But like, there is no reason for someone to be homeless. None. Everywhere's hiring. Get a job.
Yeah, but they don't want to.
Yeah, that's their problem. Then we should stop paying them free money.
No, it's our problem because we got to pay for them to live because we live in a democratic country. This is why I am so pro Singapore. Dude, Singapore, we all just gotta fucking do. We need to look at Singapore, and then we just need to go, okay, how do they operate? Boom, drop it into the U.S. Dude, Andy Frisella talks about that too. That like Singapore is fucking strict. They are very clean. They're a professional country. Mm-hmm. That is one of the like most neutral countries that like everybody works with.
They're like the world's safest country too.
Dude.
Well, and we found out why when we were there.
Do you know how fucking strict they are?
I mean, we were learning about it, Shaun.
Dude, they'll fucking put you in jail for like spitting.
Yeah, we've learned about that.
Oh, I love it, dude.
Yeah, especially if you spit gum on the street, like that's a felony, I believe.
Dude, it's crazy. But here's the deal.
And you don't want to be in their jails.
No. So like, oh god, yeah, go ahead.
Because what we learned is, so I've been to Singapore twice. The first time I went was about 8 years ago now. 8, yeah. And it's honestly has always been my favorite country. I love Singapore. It is beautiful, so clean. You feel so safe. It's crazy. I love it. And then Shaun and I got to go 4 years ago, and the first time I made a friend, Harith, who obviously lives there. So when we went back the second time, we got to meet up with him again, and he was telling us about like some of the things, and like all men are required to join the military there. Yeah,
you have to serve until you're 37.
Yeah, so you do 2 full years.
2 years active.
Once you're 18.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was able to postpone for a year, so he could study and to get into college,
yep.
University. But yeah, so then he did his 2 full years, and then you are like in the reserves until you're 37, and you just you get called to go back for 2 weeks like every.
I think it's very similar. It's a very similar thing to the reserves in the U.S. I think they do some weekend stuff every now and again, and they do 2 weeks during the summer.
Or something like that. Yeah.
But what I really.
So you got to think like every male there like. Probably knows how to shoot someone.
Well, so not only do they know how to shoot someone, they have a sense of pride. Mm-hmm. They have a sense of relations with the country that, here they say only like 1% in the U.S. has served. So when you only have 1% of people who have experienced that patriotic sort of duty, where in Singapore you have 50% of people, and those 50% of people most likely on 25-30% have spouses.
Yeah.
So those spouses are going to have a similar sense of duty.
Yeah.
Right? And then the kids come up and the kids see that, right? And so I'm not saying we have to implement a mandatory service. I believe there should be a mandatory service
of some kind.
Does it have to be military? No. It could be some sort of government service of some sort. The only thing where this is this is going to start to fudge me up, and this is going to go against my capitalist beliefs, is that's going to involve us paying more taxes. So you're kind of going to get me stumped up there, and that's where I crisscross on my beliefs.
Yeah,
I don't know how that would work out.
I'm curious what their tax rates are like. That's one thing we haven't looked into much.
I'm not sure. That though is where like I'm very, very capitalist, less government control, but I do believe service is a good thing for like your sense of country.
Yeah.
And that's also going to help us with all the fat doughboy motherfuckers, right?
Yeah. Did you know? So the first time I was there, Harris gave me a Singapore flag pin.
Okay.
And it's actually like a huge thing to be given that, like from someone.
Is that right?
Singaporean, yeah. It's like, why can't I think of like what it actually like means? But like it means that they like really trust you and like they think you are like a good person.
That's super cool. Mm-hmm. That's super cool.
Yeah, I still have it actually. 8 years later,
Yeah.
I still got it.
That's cool. I don't know how I.
That just like shows like their pride for their country. Like,
Yes.
I mean, they don't do it here, like where everything is American flagged. Like,
No.
They use it as like a symbol for like pure and like goodness, good in the world.
Yeah.
And also, a huge part of their population is Muslim.
Yes.
I think that has to do a lot with their like, or that like plays a lot into like their strictness.
Yes, I believe it does. I believe that plays a huge role into their strictness. But there's no reason that can't be implemented here.
Right? No. There is no reason.
Yeah. It's what it is. So many people here do not understand do not know what a third world country is. So many people have had it so easy and cush here that we've gone from actual problems to like our biggest issue right now is if you were called the wrong gender. Dude, if you were born in 1920, you lived through a depression. You lived through a world war.
Was it what was the big like sandstorm too?
Oh yeah, the where all the crops and stuff, the sand bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Where they didn't have crops for like I think it was like 5 years because they did so much of tilling of the soil that they wrecked the soil and they couldn't grow crops.
Yeah, and it
the
was
Dust
just,
Bowl.
Like, the Dust Bowl. Yes. Yeah, because it was like super. Because nothing would grow, so all the dirt became sand.
Yep.
So it was like really dry. And I think then they had like locusts was a huge issue.
Okay, what's a locust?
It's like a bigger grasshopper that like, I think like bites you.
Ish.
Yeah.
I'd be fighting, killing those things.
Yeah, it was like a huge issue during that too. So that like those would also eat crops.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was a bad time. And then they invented pesticides.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So think of you're born in the 20s, okay? You spend your childhood living in the depression, okay? Then you turn 25 and you go to war. A very, very bad war. A very bad war.
You see family and friends die in front of you.
A lot. The whole nation changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's when women started working too, right? Because all the men were at war, so
women had to run the country essentially.
Yeah.
And so war ends. Go ahead.
That must have been when they invented daycares then too, right?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
But so then people come back, and that's when the world really starts to thrive. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, and we talked about this on different episodes, there should have been a massive depression after that. But that's when they started interest rates. That's when they started debts. That's when they started loans.
Yeah.
Was in 1946 when they started like loans on a mass scale and debt on a mass scale. And that is, I believe, so these people coming back from war, to keep them in good spirits, they created these things to keep them in high spirits. That, I believe, was
A mistake.
a mistake. I think they should have came back from war. They should have had their depression or recession or whatever it was, and they should have just built back slowly.
Yeah.
The reason they had that was when the men came back, there wasn't enough demand and jobs for them, so they didn't have a purpose, men. Because the women had been doing these jobs, and the majority of jobs at the time was to supply stuff for war. Mm-hmm. And so when they came back from war, a huge world war that lasted many years, there was no jobs. There was nothing for them to do because everything they'd been doing for the past, I think 8-9 years, something like that, was war, was getting stuff for war.
Right.
And so they started consumerism.
That's crazy.
And so consumerism and debt on a large scale has only been around for 80 years.
That's insane.
Dude. And so people have such a false sense of reality, right? Because so now these people have just spent 25 years of their, so they would have went to war when they were like 18 till they're 25. So they've spent 25 years of literal hell. 25 years of hell. Now they got 20 years of good. Okay? Then their kids start going to war again.
Oh, was that Vietnam?
Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Kids start going to war.
There wasn't a depression at that time then, was there?
No. Mm-mm.
So, was the last depression 2008? Because that was... What?
Was that technically a depression or was that a recession? I think that was technically a recession.
What's the difference?
I don't know the exact difference. A recession is like where you have multiple quarters of downtime, and a depression is something else. I'd have to look up the exact term. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't actually care enough right now.
But you care about all this other history shit.
No, I mean, I'll look it up. I just don't like taking time to look it up, and then there's that weird, awkward dead space.
Okay. This, I'm sorry, Shaun, had to be one of the hardest episodes we've ever recorded for me.
Why?
Because I had to listen to your conspiracy theories and then a history lesson. I'm sure there are people that are going to really enjoy this.
Do you not like my history lessons?
No. I'll make sure that you save it for the podcast now, because then other people can get your history lessons.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Maybe you should get off your phone.
I'm looking at what a depression is. You want to know? You want to know what they come up with depression?
Sure.
Symptoms, test, medication, quiz. I'm trying to figure out like a depression. A depression in the world.
Economy.
Depression economy.
Yeah.
But so here everything is just all about recession versus depression. Here, this should help. Oh my gosh. A recession is a gradual decline of the economy that occurs over at least 6 months.
So it was a depression in 2008, wasn't it?
Since 1854, the United States has experienced 33 recessions and only 1 depression.
When was it?
That was 1920. The Great Depression.
Wait, did you say since the 1900s?
Since 1854.
Oh.
So, recently, okay. It's a good excuse to learn. Recession.
I said that you can keep your history lessons for the podcast, so then I don't have to listen to them outside of this.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, yep. On the other hand, a depression is an extended recession or serious decline in the economy that lasts for years.
No, so 2008 only lasted the 1 year.
Yeah. For a depression to be in effect, unemployment rates need to rise above 20%.
Ooh.
And there needs to be a significant decline in the gross domestic product.
I'm wondering if like COVID will almost be a depression time.
No, because we first off we didn't reach high enough unemployment. Second off, the economy, because of all the stimulus, went so high that there wasn't an actual stage of a declining economy.
Also, There's no way that 20% of the U.S. workforce did not work in like restaurants or bars or like everywhere that had to close.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, that makes sense. There's a lot of bars and restaurants. I didn't think of that.
Right? Like, that's what I'm... So, because now that I'm thinking about it, like, only, like, they said 13% of the population.
Yeah, but most places didn't shut down for more than 2 weeks. They just went on, like, limited staff.
I know. I think they had to shut down for, like, 2 months.
Is that really happened?
Yeah, I think it might have actually been longer than that.
That happened.
Yeah, it was miserable.
How did we let this happen in our country?
Because everyone was told, like, just these 2 weeks, and then we can move on, like, back on with life.
Hey, Sam, how do you control a country?
Keep them uneducated and scared.
Seems like that happened the past 2 years.
You know what I really, really want, Sean? Like, so badly, and it doesn't happen to me ever.
Tell me.
I want someone to come to me and try to explain COVID. And, like, tell me why I'm wrong. And then I can be like, well, did you study microbiology? And most likely they're going to tell me no.
Yeah, well, see here, even the CDC and WHO can't explain what COVID is. And if they do explain what it is, it changes in the next couple weeks.
Oh, I'm aware.
And it's been doing that on a rotation for 2 years. And now they're saying there's actually going to be a fourth strand of COVID, and that Omicron's not going to be the last strand of COVID, even though Omicron now has been shown that it's just the common cold, but it's got a COVID antibody or COVID. What's the
Spike.
Spike protein, right?
Yep.
A COVID spike protein with it.
It's like Sean.
Yeah.
It's like viruses mutate.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Oh my God, who didn't know that?
I think almost everybody knew that, but now so many people, these people wanted a purpose in life. People wanted a purpose, and now they have something to wrap their identity around because they didn't have anything meaningful in their own personal lives. So these people that just were kind of going with the flow, they don't have a purpose, which is a massive population.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking, I bet you people that don't truly believe they have a purpose has to be, I would say around 60%.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out a random number, but like, if you think about all the people around you and all just the worker bee people who don't really question society and just kind of live.
Yeah, what did we say? They just like coast through life, or yeah, I mean they just like
They literally
float.
they're just floating through life without a purpose. And I think so many people lack a purpose, a clear reason of being. That this is finally something that they can identify with, and they can relate with, right? And so now they have the purpose of being the mask police or the vaccine police.
Yeah.
They have a purpose now, and that's to crush other people mentally, or it's to ruin the economy, to ruin the government. They finally have a sense of purpose and power that they've never had before.
Right. Why do you like? I just don't get how COVID like triggered so many of these people.
And so it's been. I think it's been a gradual.
I see what you. Gradually, I think it's like been the rise of social media. Like we see it more, and people can hide behind their computer screens now. Like, right? Like people are able to have a voice and not be like really confronted almost.
Yep.
Right? Because like they can hide behind a screen, so they can comment on something and then never look back at what people reply to you.
Yes.
Plus, it's not as hurtful when you read it over a screen than if someone's telling you in your face.
Unless you're a soy boy.
Right. So I feel like the rise of social media has probably definitely have done that.
I think it's played such a massive role. I also think it's desensitization. And why I say that is if you look back through the past it's honestly, it's not that long. It's like 15 years. It's only 15 years. If you look back 15 years to when Obama first ran for president, the definition or like what a Democrat was then is now what a Republican stands for outside of abortion. So we're talking being desensitized to such radical change that has been pushed on us has changed from people that used to be Republicans, like a real Republican 15 years ago. Every single one of them is a Democrat now.
Yeah, I mean, haven't you seen like the true scale? Like, I think like Bernie Sanders is far left.
Yeah, very, very liberal. Yep.
But like all Republicans these days are like moderate.
Oh yeah.
So when other countries view our political parties, like there are no Republicans. Like they're moderate.
Mm-hmm. We have moderates and we have liberals.
Yeah.
No. It's pretty crazy to see that desensitization period happened radically. We're talking from probably like 2004 until now. So 18 years probably, because that was part of the Bush administration rolling into Obama, Obama to Trump to let's go Brandon.
Hey Shaun, what political party wanted to free the slaves?
That would be the Republican Party.
Yep. What party wanted to keep their slaves?
That would be the Democrats.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Interesting. But Republicans are the racist ones.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. And, well, so we can keep going. So...
Okay, let's not keep this too much longer.
No, let's keep going. It said that around 80% of the black population refuses to get the COVID vaccine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, so it's this crazy thing, right? Where... it's this crazy thing where the black community doesn't trust the government because the government has not always treated them right.
Yes.
Crazy. And contrary to belief, as we just stated, it was the Democratic Party that wanted to keep them in slavery.
Yeah.
It has been the Republican Party that has fought for black rights and women rights throughout history.
Yeah.
Look it up. It's facts. But for some reason, they're trying to act like that has changed in the last 10 years, 15 years. And it hasn't. Like, why do people think that if throughout all of history, the Democratic Party has always been against rights? They've always been against rights. Why all of a sudden do people believe because they're saying like, oh, more rights, why do we think they're actually going to implement that? Do you think they did a 180 swing in the past 15 years? Because I don't.
No.
I don't believe that for a second.
Hell no.
I believe it's a ploy to gain power, desensitize us, and then implement communist regimes.
Like, do you remember, like, there being, like, a whole bunch of racism 10 years ago?
No. Racism took off under Donald Trump. And it was not Trump. It was not Trump.
No, it was a ploy to get him out of office.
It was a ploy to get him out of office. That's when BLM started. These fake things started to create a narrative around the division. Because if they can keep us divided, they can control us. The more we are divided, the more we're controlled because we're not united as one going against a common cause.
Right. And the main issue with that is, like I've said before, on my Facebook, like I have Democratic friends and I have Republican friends. So I see both sides. Like each side posts different articles.
Yep.
So I can see like, okay, well, they're using the data they want to prove their point and they're using the data they want, like,
to prove their point.
Right. So no data you see out there is ever going to be true. I'm telling you.
I don't believe it. I don't believe really much of it. Any data is accurate.
Right. So if you're a person that only has Democratic friends, that's the only side you're going to see.
Yes.
So, yeah, they're trying to keep everyone divided because if the country is divided, then we're going to fight each other before we fight the government.
Correct. Well, and they also want to keep the races divided. So badly they want to keep the races divided.
Yeah.
Because it gives us a fighting point against each other. When it's not true. The majority of people are not racist. And I dislike so much. I really cannot stand the idea of some races getting things that other races don't. I don't like that when we talk about people, we start with the color of their skin. There's no need for that.
No.
Why can't they just be an American?
Right? Like a male or
A
female.
male, a female, American. I understand if it's maybe a crime. Okay, white male in his late 20s.
Oh, right. Like if you're describing
Brunette.
someone to find them. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Other than that, these articles, why do we need to talk about color? We don't. But there's a black. So there's like a black. Just at North High School here. North High School in Eau Claire made a all black after school program. You are not allowed in this group if you're not black. Okay. Now that's division. That's division. I do not care. It's division.
So isn't that being racist against white people?
No, it's not. It's being racist against every other race.
Well, yeah.
And so that's where, like, we are creating our own division. And I think it's foolish. Foolish.
Like, I definitely agree with, like, empowering, like, your culture, right?
That is a culture, not a community.
And not a color.
It has nothing to do with color.
Right. We saw that video of albino, this whole family is albino, and they're all
Muslim.
Indian.
Yeah, Indian.
From India.
Yep, Indian, yep.
So, yeah, it's not about color, because guess what? They're still Indian.
Correct. It doesn't matter. And that's what, like, yes, bond to your culture. I understand that. But guess what? How many different cultures are there of white people here? Oh, shit ton.
Right. I would even say, like, the Midwest is a culture. Like, we're a different culture from the South.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Well, would that be a community?
I think, but isn't it like a lifestyle?
Oh, okay.
Or like a...
Cultural differences. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yep, you're right.
I mean, definitely, like, I think because we're all from the same country, like, we call it, what's it? We do call it different because we're all in one country.
Sure.
But, like, Midwesterners are way different than people from the South, from the East, from the West.
Yes, big time.
Because that's just how we are.
Yep.
That's how we're raised and that, like, how we've grown.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, like, it doesn't matter what skin color you are. Like, all the people from the Midwest, I bet you are going to have the same, like, tendencies. The same tendencies as each other compared to, like, any colored person from any other part of the country.
Did
that make sense?
To a big,
if they don't play into stereotypes.
Okay, that's right. That's where I had to come at you different. Playing into stereotypes is huge. Mm-hmm. We see that massively. I have watched people that were like city-ish, right?
Oh yeah, you and I both know people like this.
Dude, yes. Okay, so I know people like white. They listen to rap music. They're just normal white kids, right? No big deal listening to rap music. Okay, cool. They decided that they want to be redneck because they live in a small town.
Right.
So they're going to be redneck. They literally created this new identity. They changed how they talk. They changed their appearance. They started identifying as a redneck, and they completely changed their whole identity because of a stereotype that people from little towns in the Midwest are redneck. Mm-hmm. Okay? I've also seen this with actually one of my friends, a black individual.
Yes.
Great kid.
Yep, this is the scenario we both have.
Great kid. We hung out all the time. 7th grade, he decided he wanted to be a gangster. 8th grade and on, he started becoming a gangster. All he wanted to do was rap, do drugs. He changed how he talked. Grew up in a white family. He talked just like everybody else in our town. But he decided he wanted to be a gangster, so he changed how he talked.
Did he have friends that were gangsters too? Or did they become gangsters with him?
They became gangsters. None of us were gangsters. We were all just normal kids in a small town doing nothing. Like, we were just normal kids. Mm-hmm. But then with social media and seeing what, these gangster hood black people are like, well, that's what I need to be like. And then him and a couple of his friends started acting that way and stuff, getting in trouble. He's in prison for the rest of his life now.
Yeah. Mine's not as depressing as you.
Oh, sure.
I also had a friend. It was really the nicest family. They had one white daughter, one black daughter.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I know this one. Keep going. I love this one.
And the mom was black, the dad was white. Mm-hmm. And the mom, literally, though she claimed this. She said this all the time. She was the whitest black person ever. Mm-hmm. And her daughters were raised the exact same. Mm-hmm. And they both acted like regular Midwesterners. Mm-hmm. And then the black daughter moved to the cities. Yep. And all of a sudden became a thug. Yep. Or she didn't become a thug. She became a I mean the female version of a thug, I guess. She all of a sudden started wearing really high heels. Bad bitch. Yeah. Really high heels, slutty outfits, cared about her looks a lot. And started talking like she was a gangster, and her mom was just I don't we're the whitest black people. I don't know where this came from.
Yep. Now she acts like a hood rat.
Yeah, and she did that in her 20s.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she created a new identity because of social culture in her 20s. Mm-hmm.
And go for gold. I understand you be who you want to be, but do it in reason. Right?
Yeah.
Don't fall into the stereotypes just because you want to fit in with those stereotypes, right?
And I think that's where it becomes really tough is these people just going back, they want to have an identity to hold on to, so they fall into their stereotypes.
But that's not who they truly are.
No, it's not who they are.
You and me, you're a gym rat.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm.
And we both still embrace that. We have not changed that one bit.
Right.
I've always been into sports, so me going to the gym and stuff with Shaun is not new. Right. But I started getting Shaun to read books. It doesn't mean he changed his whole persona to be a nerd.
Yeah, I didn't at all. I mean, shit. I always liked watching Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of child in me still.
But you and I have stayed true to who we are. I mean, we've obviously changed and grown in different ways.
Yes.
But
we have not changed our identity.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our careers have changed and things like that, but our personal identities haven't really changed for who we are.
Mm-hmm. I've always just loved being the quirky kind of one. Mm-hmm. Right? I've always had the weird hobbies.
You are weird.
As we see from the background of this. And I growing up would not let that change me.
Right. Which is good. Mm-hmm. It's very good.
So yeah, I get embracing who you really are, but you don't need to fall into these stereotypes that are gonna especially hurt you.
Yes. Or look negative upon you.
Right, just because you want to fit in.
Yeah.
Don't fit in. Be who you want to be.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, up in Ashland, a lot of kids want to fit in and they get addicted to heroin. That's real life.
Yeah.
That's not a joke.
Yeah.
And that's just the sad reality up there is to fit in with the cool crowd, you end up doing hard drugs. It's sad.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's by making people keep bringing up racism and making sure we're all still divided, it's going to stick around, right? It's not going to
absolutely
until we forget it's a thing.
Yep.
Stop bringing a voice to it, it'll forever keep happening.
So this is I want to touch on this. What you said is 100%, and I'm just gonna reaffirm it.
Okay.
When you go to a big city like Minneapolis or Chicago or Milwaukee, you really see the division there. Mm-hmm. Depending on the neighborhood you're in and stuff, there's a massive division there. And you see the stereotypes. You see the stereotypes hard in those areas, okay? Yeah. We went to Nashville, and we were blown away. There was no division. We saw, like, zero division.
At least, like, the parts of Nashville we saw.
The parts of Nashville, Sam mentioned to me on our, like, second or third day there, and she's like, Shaun, have you noticed, like, how diversified it is here? Like, there's a lot of different cultures here. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I didn't even notice because everybody was cordial. There was no division. We would talk to people of a different race with not even noticing they were a different race.
Yeah.
And vice versa to us, right? And I was like, this is truly one of the first places where it did not matter your culture. It seemed like everybody just kind of fit in.
Everyone fit in. Everyone got along. Everyone just acted like normal people. Like normal civilized people.
Normal civilized people. The stereotypes were, okay, all right, yes, you got your honky-tonk cowboy people on, but that's really a big facade and showdown there.
Yeah.
There was people of every color wearing cowboy boots and cowboy hats.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, inclusivity there.
And the one interesting thing, this is what blew my mind, was we saw probably about 15 homeless people on Lower Broadway.
Yep.
They were all white but one guy.
Yep.
And there was two, like, this is like what made me, I was just like blown away. There was these two little black kids that were street performers.
Yep.
They wanted to make money, so they knew where to go to make money.
Yep, they're on the street performing, and they had like maybe it was like older brother or something with them.
Yeah, like watching them,
which is awesome. I mean, the kids were probably 8 years old, 8 years old.
They were super nice, friendly, like having a good old time.
And then, just someone making sure that they're not getting taken advantage of, right? Which is a really good thing to have.
Or stabbed by any of the white heroin
heroin
addicts down the road.
But even the homeless people they weren't like
in your face.
They weren't in your face. They were like respectable homeless people.
Yeah, they keep their distance.
Yeah. It just blew my mind, right? Like seeing a culture not divided. I was like, hey, this is really cool. This is how the United States should be, but the narrative doesn't allow that. So here we are
watch this episode get just like shut down because we're not following the narrative.
That'd be so funny. Us and our like 80 followers.
I honestly think we have 15 people listening to this.
Maybe 16.
I would be surprised.
16.
I would be surprised if we had 15 people still listening to us right now. We're at like an hour and a half almost.
Oh, you're saying this far in? Because we're gonna have more starts than 16. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but 16 people still listening to it. Do you think so?
I think I got 16 friends. I have 16 friends that are still listening to this. Family friends. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I'm telling you. But anyways, yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about the division and stuff that's going on. And to bring this full circle about the parties and why, how many Republicans, if you go on social media, how many Republicans are pushing racism? How many? Zero. Or a very, very small proportion.
Yeah, that like bring it up at all.
That bring it up. Who are bringing up that everything's racist? Who's bringing that up? The Democratic Party. If it is not brought to light, if it is not talked about, it does not exist. Okay? But for race at least. Racism was a very, very minimal thing 10 years ago until every Democrat started bringing it up during Donald Trump.
And yes, like, obviously there's going to be times, like, right, where, I mean, it's just so silly because, like, we only see the times, like, with, like, police violence and stuff like that, like, of black people. We only see that. Like, we don't see the white people getting the same treatment.
No.
That's the hard thing.
I don't like I don't like that. Everything is done for the narrative. And did you know this? Media sources don't have to tell the truth now.
Nope, they don't.
And so it's been passed that they don't. It's a law that they do not have to tell the truth. They can just make up whatever they want.
That's the thing with COVID, right?
Yeah, it's been recent.
Yeah.
Hey, so with the COVID bill, I don't know if you ended up watching the rest of that video I sent you. With the second stimulus check of $1,400 that came out.
Yeah.
In that 970 some page legislation.
Yeah.
They put in, which was signed into action starting 2022, that every transaction from a third payment source, such as a Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, all those, any transactions from one individual that add up to $600 throughout the year is now going to be automatically taxed unless you have a reason why it shouldn't be taxed, or if you put it as like a family and friend payment, which PayPal allows you to do, family and friends. I think Venmo does too, but some of them don't have that option, okay? Some of those sites don't have those options to have like family and friends, or they don't ask you. So if you're just sending, so I just talked to Mitch on the phone, we always send Mitch our phone payment. If I send him all these payments and if I don't select the right thing, Mitch at the end of the year, right, so we send him around $100 a month. So end of the year, $1,200. Mitch is going to get taxed on that.
Which is stupid because he's already getting taxed on the payment.
Correct. But they passed this into law to essentially get more taxes from us because they've been printing all the stimulus money. So this is twofold here. Well, threefold. One, they can track now. These companies, by law, now have to submit this into the IRS. Okay? So, number one, they have a lot more oversight of where people are receiving money and sending money. They now know that 100%. Second, how much more work is that creating for these companies? They're going to have to hire more people to make these forms and to send them in and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Number three, how much more work is the IRS going to have now that they have to go through all of these transactions and then send in request payments for all this?
Right.
I mean, just last year, somebody at the IRS put together my crypto sell and buy. They sent me a $17,000 bill in the mail.
Okay, they put together all your sells.
That is correct.
They did not include any of
yes.
Shaun's buys.
They did not include any of my buys, so they put together all of my sells. So it had no idea, this whole thing had no idea what my actual profit and loss was. And keep in mind, I already got my 1099 and paid my taxes. I had already paid my taxes from the 1099 I received from Robinhood.
Because that was for 2020?
Yeah, yep.
So it was almost, because we got that in October or something.
Yeah, yep. And so they sent us this bill saying I owe $17,000 because they took every transaction where I sold and they said I profited every single time for everything I sold. What they did not have on there is the fact that, yeah, I bought Bitcoin at $50,000 and then I sold it at 50,100, whatever it is, right? They're just like, oh, yep, $100 gain every single time, but they did not factor in any of my losses.
Yep.
Any of my losses, nothing like that. So they're just like, oh, you made $100, you made $100, da 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 da. I was
it didn't even do the made $100.
Oh.
It the total amount that Shaun sold for 2020.
That's right.
Was how much money he apparently made from cryptocurrencies.
That is right.
So
yes,
it didn't account for how much money because he was buying and selling. So he would buy at one amount, sell it the next amount.
And they only did this for cryptos. They did not do it with my whole stocks.
Yes.
Because I did all of my stocks the same way, and they did not have anything about stocks.
But it's also because they just they passed a new law in 2020 about cryptocurrencies and getting taxed on it. But it did not apply to Shaun because he was buying and selling. Or you were doing it correctly or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the end, didn't it show that you had a loss actually?
Yeah, so they ended up, so Sam's mom, Kim, wrote a letter like, hey, we already did all this. What are you talking about? You aren't factoring in the buying. So you're right, because in 2020, I didn't do like really any selling of Bitcoin or minimal selling. It was mostly Ethereum and Litecoin and stuff like that. So, so every sell I did, right? Like if I sold an Ethereum, okay, boom, yep, I made 3,000. Boom, I made 3,000. Da 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 da. And so that added up to me owing 17,000 taxes. Yep, you're right.
Yep.
Kim wrote a letter to them like, hey guys, quit trying to make my client pay money. He's already paid his taxes through his 1099. This is all false. You are not factoring in the buying. You're only factoring in the selling. And then it ended up coming back. I got a letter back saying, oh, you don't owe any money to the IRS. And then it ended up showing like I had $100 loss or something out of all the sales. And I'm just like, oh, well, am I going to get my am I going to get my $17 back for my $100 loss? Yeah. Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. I think you did have to pay $1, but it was because we forgot to put, because your Ally savings account was also on there.
Oh, that's right.
So we forgot to, like, put in how much interest Shaun made from his
I got
Ally
taxed
account.
on my interest. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So Shaun had to pay a whole $1 out of the $17,000.
It was $1, yeah.
Yep. So be careful, guys. Like, that's honestly going to keep happening to people. Like, the IRS are just going to keep sending you letters saying, like, hey, you owe this amount of taxes, when in reality, like, we owed nothing.
Right, and so it's not even going to be for crypto. It's going to be
everything.
For every fucking Venmo transaction, Cash App transaction, PayPal you have, all of that. You're going to get sent bills in the mail for tax. And honestly, my belief is that it's just a ploy to get us to pay in more taxes. To pay in more taxes to make up for this massive deficit that we've just continued to print ourselves in, and then also to track what we're spending our money on, because they want to have full control.
But also, they don't want to have, like, they're trying to kill small businesses.
Oh,
so
100%.
the owners of Walmart and Target and Amazon can keep profiting their fucking billions of dollars and sucking all the money out of the small businesses.
So on to what I was talking.
Wait, should we end this here and continue next week, Shaun?
No, absolutely not. So, when I was talking about the wealthy people,
yes.
The 10%, from 2020 to 2021, so it's through the COVID pandemic. They just came out with this. They're like, it's kind of, this might be surprising. The majority of people that got hit by the COVID pandemic turned out, none of the wealthy got hit. The wealthy, the top 1%, all doubled, the majority of them doubled or more their net worth in the past 2 years during the worst economy of like the whatever, COVID. And all the top 1% wealthy doubled or more.
Yeah. So here's the issue is, like, everyone, you can keep saying, like, let's tax the rich more. Here's the problem. It's going to be people like Shaun and I who are doing our due diligence to set ourselves up for the future that are going to get taxed more.
That will have to pay the most taxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The rich, because of how tax rules are, they know how to get out of paying taxes.
Yep.
They can do things. They can give themselves $1 salaries and
to lower their tax bill and stuff.
Yeah, like, they know how to get out of it.
Yeah.
So honestly, we all just need to get taxed the same amount.
15% flat tax.
And it'll be fine.
We'll make a lot more money.
Yeah, 100%. And then guess what? Small businesses can start thriving again.
But that's not the net. We don't want small businesses to thrive. That's not the narrative. Here's my last thing, and we'll wrap this up. Last quick thing. Sam, if you had say you had a company, right?
This is not quick.
Say your company was a $1 trillion company.
Okay.
Okay. You say no. Let's say you have a $13 trillion company. Okay.
Okay.
$13 trillion company. Would you want the best business person in the world or in the country to run said $13 trillion company business? Or would you like a political figure with minimal business background to run it?
That's a stupid question.
What would you choose?
I'd obviously want the person with no experience. Duh.
You want the no experience? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
no.
okay.
I obviously would take the experienced person.
Okay.
I definitely trust Elon Musk way more to handle his $13 million in taxes.
Billion.
I trust him more with his $13 billion of taxes he just paid in more than the government.
With that 13 billion.
Yep.
Yes.
But it's because he knows what to do with money properly. Obviously.
My thing is, if we have these people at the top end, first off, serving should be like something people do for they should serve their country by like being in office, but for only a short period of time.
Oh yeah, these people can't be in office for 60 years anymore.
So the person running the country, what we have right here is a massive business. It's like around a $13 trillion business, the United States.
Right.
So we have this $13 trillion business, and my numbers might be off by a little bit. I'm sure they are. We should have who's number one head of the business world right now? Elon Musk. Okay, below him is Jeff Bezos. However you feel about those guys, guess what they're doing? Running extremely profitable companies with a shit ton of employees.
What's the country?
A really big motherfucking company with a shit ton of people losing a lot of money.
Losing a lot.
So why would we not put... Or like these gentlemen could serve. They could even do a 2-year serve. It doesn't have to be 4 years. They could do a 2-year service or a 1-year service, or they could do it as a conglomerate. Maybe there's a table of them, 3-4 of them,
right,
who are on this table to run this country. But we need the top heads. We need extremely well business-first people to run this country. Whatever you want to say about Donald Trump, he had one of the best economies because he understands business.
Right.
I don't care about his politics. We can put people in place as our the social worker of the United States.
Right.
And they can worry about the politics and making people feel fuzzy and warm. But then who's actually running the country should be a very well business-versed person.
I mean, and even the governors and senators, House of Representatives, all those people, they should not be able to be in their positions for so long. Look how corrupt it is right now because so many of those people have been there for decades.
2 to 4 years of service.
They've done nothing. I'd say 10 years max. 10 years max.
10 years max cannot be consecutive. I will go.
Yeah, there we go.
I will go 10 years maximum in your whole lifespan. It cannot be consecutive.
And I think instead of having a minimum age, I think you should have to have a maximum age.
There has to be, I'd say, a minimum. I know this might sound absolutely asinine. For the president, it's different. I would say for most city, council, state, stuff like that, I would throw out 25 years old.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Minimum 25.
Maximum 50 or 60 maybe?
60. I'd say maximum 60. And
then,
I would say for running the country, I would like to see 40 to 60. You have a 20-year gap.
The only reason, I like Trump because he has a son that's younger. So, he's obviously thinking to better the country for his family, right?
For his kids and his grandkids.
Right. And that's why, we need to get younger people in office because guess what? All these old people that are in their 70s and 80s, all these decisions they're making is not going to affect them because they're going to be dead.
Yes.
They're making all these decisions because they want to. It is not for the betterment of the country.
No, it's the betterment of themselves.
Yes.
Yes.
Because if they make these decisions, guess what? Money in their pockets.
Yes, we need an age minimum and maximum.
Yeah.
And then we need limits on terms. They cannot be consecutive terms. People need to prove why they're worthy of being of service to us.
Yeah. Also, random piece of knowledge for you today.
What's that?
The mayor of Las Vegas has been mayor for 10 years.
Okay.
She's an independent.
Okay.
And she's 82.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So she started being mayor at the age of 72.
I mean, I don't agree that she should have even been allowed to be the mayor.
It's just neat.
Let alone continue, but that is neat. That's neat.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Also, I saw a different poll today that said 48% of the population is Democratic, and then the other 52% is like split with Republican and Independent. I don't know if I believe that.
I don't believe that. I don't believe about any poll they put out.
That's valid. Okay, Sean, let's be done with this.
Let's wrap this up. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy my wonderful conspiracy theories that are going to turn out to be real theories.
This honestly might be a two-parter.
Oh, I can go on this shit forever. This is my favorite.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Bye.